Lesson 7, Unit Rates with Tables and Diagrams. Let's get started. Our first question here says, what does the table value 10, 40 mean? So when I look at my table here, for 10, 40, that's going to be this pair right here. And it looks like 10 is represented by electric toys and 40 is being represented by batteries. So what this is telling me is that someone probably bought 10 toys that required 40 batteries. So what that value means is 10 electric toys, comma, 40 batteries. So here you just need to make sure that your number is paired up with the correct description. So make sure 10 is paired up with electric toys and make sure 40 is paired up with batteries. Our next question says the first brew has blank of coffee, which corresponds to 3.75 cups of coffee. This diagram here, it looks like I have these 3 drops. So these 3 drops represent 3.75 cups of coffee. So the first brew has 3 drops of coffee, which corresponds to 3.75 cups of coffee. So in that blank there, we're just putting in 3 because there are 1, 2, 3 drops of coffee in our problem. Next one says, which of the following equations correctly calculates the proportional relationship between C and P? Select all that apply. So remember when you are writing your equation y equals kx, your first column here is going to be your x, your second column is going to be y. Okay, so if I take this first pair here and I write y over x, remember, y is your second value. So this is going to be 1320. You can also remember this because money will always go on top when you're writing ratios. And I'm going to divide that by 11. Now to get my unit rate, I need to obviously have a 1 in the denominator. So if I take this 1320 over 11, to get 1 in the denominator, I would divide the bottom by 11, divide by itself, right? 11 divided by 11 gives me 1. So I need to do the same thing up top. And if you were to type this into a calculator, you will get $1.20. So for every $1.20, I will have, so my $1.20 payment is for 1 car. Now notice that cars is your x, y equals kx. My y is payments, so that is p. My x is cars, so that is c. And my unit rate k is this right here, so it's going to be 120 times c, which is this problem right here. Now there's one other option that also works here, and that is going to be this very first one. And if you think about it, 120 is being multiplied to c. So the opposite of multiplying it by c would be dividing. So if I divided both of these sides by c, I would have p divided by c, and that leaves me with just that 120. So for this problem, those are the two that work for the situation. Our next one says, write an equation based off of the following diagram. So it tells me that each one of these cubes is represented a ream of paper, and I have how much you pay for each ream of paper. So I need to have y equals kx. Now when you're writing your ratio here, you're given money, and remember money will always go on top. So I'm going to have 1188 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4 reams of paper. Okay, and I want to know how much I have to pay for every 1 ream of paper. So I'm going to divide top and bottom by 4. 1188 divided by 4 will give you $2.97. Okay, so I am paying $2.97 for every ream of paper. Now to put this into an equation, my y is on top, correct? Y is talking about the cost. So in replace of y, I'm going to write c. K, in replace of k, I'm going to write $2.97 because that is my unit rate. And in place of x, I'm going to put an r for ream of paper. Okay, reams are on the bottom. and dollars is on top. So this right here would be the equation based off of the following diagram. So I found my unit rate and then just put that into an equation. Next question wants us to write an equation for part A. So I don't know how many drops of lemon oil it looks like I need to get 0.8 ounces of soap, but I do know how many drops of lemon oil I need to make 2 ounces of soap. So let's see. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 drops of lemon oil to make 2 ounces of soap. So 2 ounces of soap is going to go in my numerator. So 2 ounces of soap over 10 drops. To get a 1 in the denominator, I'm going to divide top and bottom by 10. 2 divided by 10 is going to give me 0.2. So for drops of soap, I'm going to use S. For drops of lemon oil, I'm going to use the variable L. So I'm going to have here S is equal to 0.2 L. Part B is asking me how many drops of lemon oil do I need for 0.8 ounces of soap. Well, if I take this unit rate, 0.2, remember this is ounces on top for every 1 lemon drop. If I want to know how many I need to get 4 drops of lemon oil, to go from 1 to 4, I'm going to multiply by 4. So I'm going to do the same exact thing up top. So 0.2 is going to give me 0.8, which is what I have here. So I need 4 drops. So 4 drops of lemon oil are needed for 0.8 ounces of soap. All right, our last question says that a pilot keeps a log of her flight time and distance during an international flight as shown in the following table. The relationship is proportional. So it looks like for every 1 hour, she goes 563 miles. Now, when your table is sideways like this, your X is on top and your Y is on bottom. So when you're writing your unit rate, it's actually flipped, okay? Blank 1. So it says the co-pilot wants to calculate what time they passed a checkpoint at mile 1500. This can be determined using equation blank. So our goal is to figure out what equation do we need to use to figure out what time they passed at this mile marker. Now, I know here that my unit rate is going to be 536 miles for every 1 hour. Blank 1, let me pick blue so it'll all match for blank 1. So for blank 1, I want to know what time it took them to get to that 1500 mile marker in hours. So since I want to know what time, I want time to be by itself. Okay, so time is going to be isolated. Now, if I am trying to figure out what time they passed this 1500 mile checkpoint, I need to kind of think about how I would solve this. Well, I know that they go 536 miles every 1 hour. And if I'm trying to think, what would I do with this 1500? Would I want to multiply it by 536? Would I divide it by 536? Well, I want to divide it. If I do the distance divided by 536, that is going to give me how many miles. And if you think about it, I don't know what this is here, right? I don't know how many hours it's taking me, but I know that they're going 1500 miles. So to go from this 536 to 15, I need to multiply by something, but I don't know what it is. And since I don't know what it is, we're going to go backwards and do some division. So this is going to be that equation we're using. And then for blank 2, this is us actually plugging it in and dividing. So I'm going to do that 1500 divided by 536 And if you type that into a calculator, you will get 2.8. So it will take them 2.8 hours to reach that 1,500-mile checkpoint. So again, this is our equation for blank 1. In blank 2, it takes them 2.8 hours. Right, that is all I have for lesson 7. So if you have other questions or need extra help, please let me know. Other than that, have a wonderful rest of your day.